Welcome to Survivor NSFW. Jonny Fairplay. It is an unprecedented day. Why do you ask? Not because we're quarantined, but Jonny fucking Fairplay has done 3 podcasts today, Easter Sunday. Jonny and I earlier did a Q&A, which we discussed our Easter stuff that we've been doing. And then Jonny did a wrestling explain to them, Jonny, what you did, what you actually recorded. We don't know when the chronological events and when this is dropping, but
sure.
I'm just saying it's been a busy podcasting day.
Yeah. Top 10 greatest good guys in wrestling with Disco Inferno from WCW, a member of the NWO.
Hell yeah.
So, and in case you wonder, if you're wondering, it's just like, is this fun? Disco Inferno tells a story about driving Jake the Snake in his early career to buy crack. And he started the car ride by smoking the crack that he already had under the passenger seat. So it's an amazing podcast. And Disco didn't come with a list written down per se.
Yeah.
And so he was just like, yeah, that's a good number 10. Or no, I would put this guy there. So
right.
But it was fun. And it's about an hour long. I think you guys will enjoy it. And we actually we finished a little early and do the top incarnations of the 4 horsemen. And also I reveal the worst 4 horsemen of all time.
Well, hell yeah.
Good time.
Yeah. And then this evening, the plan was originally for Russell Hantz to join us, but who knows if Russell's going to join us or not. So Jonny and I were just like, dude, we're recording this podcast.
Yeah.
Russell's here or not. So could he come in halfway through? Potentially. If not, Jonny and I are doing top 10 best winners in Survivor history. We're going to do like we did worst winners or a lot of our other top 10 lists. We're going to start at, number 10, go down all the way down to number 1. I know Jonny Fairplay has honorable mentions. I'm sure. I don't. I just did a top 10.
I have one honorable mention.
Okay. I have a feeling, you guys, that a lot of times
this one might be our most different list.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. I think a lot of times it's like, okay, top 10 hottest chicks, or whatever, in our lists. And even when we did the Q&A earlier, it was like Ethan Zahn, most disappointed, person this year in Winners at War, and Adam Klein, biggest, game, whatever. We agreed on a lot of things. So
yeah.
I definitely, when I was sitting out there, I literally was outside. Ryder was playing basketball. It was nice out. And I just brought my handy dandy notepad. You laugh at me, old school. And
you know what? I went a little old school. I printed off the list, and then I marked through some people that were no's, and then I took the highlighter to the yeses.
Okay. Well, cool.
So I went a little old school. Still much more computerized than you.
Yeah. Well, it's weird, man. Like, so
I get it.
Certain things, like if I'm writing song lyrics, right? Like,
sure. I think that's where it stems from. I just jot down lyrics. I'm fucking scratch. Like, I don't like that line. I scratch it out. I revise. And then once I get the song lyrics done, I will go in eventually and type them out. So I have them on my computer. So like when I go into the studio to record, I have a printed out version of lyrics that I'm like singing to or whatever, if it's a new song. Yeah. But so I couldn't imagine you've seen 8 Mile, I would imagine. I couldn't imagine Eminem typing into iNotes and
right. Yeah.
and writing 96 bars.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how that works.
Let me count. I want to double check my list here real quick, Jonny Fairplay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So where is this person? Hold on. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 4. Okay, I wrote them down, and I wrote numbers beside. Okay, so
okay. So my honor, you do not have an honorable mention?
No, I don't have. just said fuck it. And
I do have one honorable mention, and Russell is joining us in a couple of minutes.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So in the meantime, I'll do my honorable mention. We'll both do our number 10s. He should be there right then. Okay. My honorable mention, and I would love to give him higher. I can't. I battled back and forth, and he's not in my top 10. But honorable mention on this list is pretty fucking strong, and that's why I wanted to give the kudos. Wendell Holland.
Oh yeah. Good choice.
I think Wendell and Dom played a very dominating game. I just don't think it was exciting. And part of my criteria is an exciting season.
Yeah, right.
So, that's your competition, everything. I just felt competition wise, they were a little on the weak side.
Yep.
And as far as entertainment value, you did have the Chris Noble battle raps and Wendell shutting that shit down really quick. You had the Donathan Truth bombs. There were some highlights of the season, but it was not a great season. So I have I have my honorable mention at Wendell Holland.
Okay. I did a last minute change.
Sure.
You'll probably disagree with this one, but I want this person to be on my top 10 list. So my number 10.
Number 10. Okay.
My I'm sorry. My honorable mention is Chris Daughtry.
Oh,
Vanuatu. He originally was my number 10, but I bumped him to an honorable mention. I love Chris Daughtry. Not a person that seemed to be a super popular player as far as others. He's a friend of mine, cool dude. He's one of the survivors from my home state of Ohio that I've hung out with on multiple times. He's kind of stepped away from the spotlight of events. I don't blame him. He's got his own life, but his wife does a lot of reality stuff. I thought he played a great game. Kind of pretty much pitted the women against one another, and at the end of the day, came ahead as the winner when his back was against the wall. So he is my honorable mention, Jonny Fairplay, Chris Daughtry. And I imagine he's probably on your list somewhere, but honorable mention. So to the list.
Okay.
Number 10 here. You want to start or you want me to start?
I'll let you start.
Okay. Number 10, one of my favorite dudes in the Survivor community. He actually
that's not my number 10.
He actually called me on my birthday. A lot of people texted me, Facebook messaged me, etc.
I sent you a dick pic.
Yeah. You called me earlier that morning, but I didn't answer my phone. I was probably fucking Tessa or something.
Hopefully.
You tend to I have my phone on do not disturb on the weekends. Sometimes I don't get up till 9:30. Sure. And sometimes you text me at 8:35. Yeah. And then it just goes to when I just
that's good.
So Mike Holloway, season 30. I think season 30 was a season where I played Survivor Caramoan, okay, and around that time period, Tyler Fredrickson got bumped, Max Dawson got bumped. It's a blessing that I got to play Survivor, but I would have preferred playing an all newbie season. And when Worlds Apart came out, season 30, I would have loved to have been on that season.
Absolutely.
Mike Holloway, I just think it was an epic season, and it was a season where after the show, and even while it was airing, it was such a tight cast. And for a long time, those guys were hanging out and partying and things. And they're just a really tight cast. So Mike Holloway, great dude. He called me, like I said, on my birthday, and we had a good conversation, and he's doing very well. And so Mike Holloway is on my top 10 list at number 10.
Sweet. We should have him do the
Well, I asked him, I said to him,
peek behind the curtain.
Yeah, peek behind the curtain. He definitely is going to come on the podcast down the road. Just not on Winners of War season.
Not 40. Okay.
Right.
Cool.
That's right. But he's totally down, and he's been texting me and shit like that. Lately, we've been having a little spike in communication, so he'll definitely be coming on at some point.
Okay, my number 10. Not a fan of this guy, but I'm one of those people that gives credit where credit's due.
All right.
And I think this guy earned credit, especially for that final challenge.
Yeah.
The Iron Man, Tom Westman.
Oh, right on. Yeah. Remind me.
They went 11 hours
on that pole with the tall, skinny guy. That
Ian.
Yeah, Ian. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that was a great moment in Survivor history, dude.
11 hours. Yes. I mean, come on.
That's insane.
I mean, like whenever there's an epic challenge, you just keep looking for that number at the bottom to escalate.
Yeah, right.
And you know, to get to hit that 11, you're just like, holy shit.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know, I'm usually not even, I do everything in my will to not be awake for 11 hours a day. If my life was optimal, I would sleep for 10 hours and then work in 2 naps. If I had an optimal life.
So have you ever taken a bunch of Blue Chew and fucked for 11 hours?
Back in the day, I in college, I was experimental with drugs.
Yeah.
And look at this guy.
What's happening?
We'll invite anyone to the party. So we're talking about Blue Chew, Russell Hantz. So back in the day in college, I was experimental with drugs, and there was something that I took. It was not cocaine.
Yeah.
And me and a girl fucked for probably at least 10 hours straight. Like
What was that? What's that experiment?
I mean, you could probably figure it out. It was acid.
Oh, okay.
So what we did, so Russell, we both we gave an honorable mention, and then we listed our number 10.
You faded out for a second. We both gave one honorable mention. So if you have an honorable mention, list it. If not, it's okay. And we each gave our number 10.
Really. Matt's mention.
Okay, Matt's number 10 was Mike Holloway, and my number 10 was Tom Westman.
Okay, my number 10 is going to really probably shock a lot, but it's Richard Hatch.
Oh, wow. Shots fired.
I think Richard, yeah, well, I just think his win was just so easy for him. I mean, the reason he won is at the end of the day, he won because he chose the right number. Because he had to pick a number. He chose the right number. He won because he picked the right number. The whole cast just didn't know how to play. One of the cast members were voting
alphabetical
due to alphabetical order. So I give him respect by putting him in the top 10. He did create alliances, but who really doesn't come up with alliances? I mean, it's hard for me to believe that you have that many people and only one person says, "Hey, let's get together and vote together." Yeah, let's do that. That's
that happened.
Yeah, it happened. So I do put him in the top 10 because of that. Other than that, I think it's almost like trying to get a white boy in the top 10 best, basketball players of all times.
I got Larry Bird.
I got Larry Bird. We do have Larry Bird, and Hatch is Larry Bird.
Oh yeah.
So, no.
Wow. All right. Well, you started off with a bang, Russell.
Right. I just never did. He's a great player. He couldn't hold a candle to nowadays Survivor. I don't think he could play. It showed. He went back and he got bamboozled.
Well,
so,
he went back for an all-star season in which there was a pact initially made by the majority that a winner would not win a second time.
Right.
So,
well,
I think that, no winner was going to win all-stars.
I wish they would have had that pack in Heroes versus Villains.
Same here, but they did not. So, all right, Matt, your number 9.
Okay, my number 9 is a total badass. I think this chick
Twyla did not win.
This chick is on Winners at War, and I love watching her play. She's part of the Cops R Us Alliance. Sarah Lucina, Game Changers. I think she went out there the first time, played her game, figured out what she needed to do her second time around, and unlike someone like Coach who played a shitty second time survivor, I think she said, fuck it, I'm a competitor and I'm gonna do whatever it takes to win, and that's what she did. And I think she could go very far in Winners at War. So I'm a Sarah Lucina fan. I think she's a badass.
I think Sarah Lucina vastly improved from her first season to her second season, but I've seen even greater gameplay on 40. Like, I think her game, she might be one of the best progressing survivor players that we've ever seen. And I think her best is potentially still to come. And so she just missed my list because I just feel that there's more for her to do, and we're potentially going to see it.
Right on.
Yeah, I disagree totally with Sarah. I don't see if you had to tell me who's playing best that came back, I would say it would be Tony, because Tony is doing something that's super hard for someone that aggressive.
He's not playing.
All of a sudden, well, he's saying exactly what he's doing. He's like, I'm sitting here, I'm not going to look for idols. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. For me to go out there and do that, let's say I get out there and I'm like, I don't go look for idols. I sit there and I don't strategically play. That's more of a strategic play for me than actually go and look for an idol.
It's definitely painful.
It's painful, but I just think because he's stepping back and he's being someone who he's not is a strategic move for him. So I respect that, watching that.
Mm-hmm.
But that alliance is with Sarah Lucina, who is playing a more aggressive game, but a more aggressive game once again under the radar.
But what do you think about her move recently when she went all human on us?
She admitted on Twitter that she's allergic to Chinese food.
Yeah, but you still take it.
No, you don't. I mean, why would you waste that spot on yourself if you can't eat it? And you can do something.
Bad. That's why. It just looks bad.
You can do something humane in that moment. Fuck it. I don't. I mean,
well, you could, but I think she'll get voted out for that.
I don't think so. As I said, I don't think it was a strategic move. I think it's the reverse of a strategic move. But at the same time, if you can't appreciate it, it's someone's birthday. That's the right thing to do.
I just don't like the move at all. And they had several people that thought exactly like I thought when I seen it happen.
I get that, but at the same time,
in a game for $2 million, I just think it was a bad move.
Yeah, well,
I agree. I mean, I think she did it from the heart.
Yeah.
But what you're saying, Russell, the stakes are so high, you got to literally not put your heart. That was a heart move, a human move. Like, this is the right thing to do as a human. I think when you're playing for $2 million, you pretty much don't do anything that's fucking humane.
Now,
you literally do.
Knowing that she's allergic, now I'm like, okay, well, she probably did it because, yes. Oh, it was his birthday. Let me go ahead and give it because I'm not eating it anyway. Let me give it to someone else.
That's it.
It's just so hard to get out of who you're supposed to be. You don't supposed to be human when you play that game.
But I honestly, I think it was such a little gesture. I mean, it wasn't like she gave, it's just like, there's going to be a plane trip getaway to a resort. Yeah. And she was like, oh, well, Nick, it's your birthday. It's just like, why'd you do that? She's like, well, I'm scared of flying. It's like, well, bitch, you made it here.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Russell. If she wouldn't have specifically given it to Nick Wilson, if she would have said, raised her hand and said, Jeff,
right,
I'm allergic.
Listen, I cannot eat Chinese food, and
Right.
there's a lot of people out here that really need nourishment. Listen, you guys, I am not going to call out a single person. If you guys can decide amongst yourselves who I can give it to, I will give that to you. That would have been the better move.
I think so.
I think that's Chinese
food. You see, we haven't heard that. She's saying that on Twitter, but we're not hearing her say, and maybe they didn't show it due to not editing it, but we don't hear her saying, hey, I'm allergic to Chinese food, guys. I can't eat Chinese food. We just, in the conversation with her and Tony, we just hear Tony say, what are you doing? Yeah. She ain't coming back with, well, I'm allergic to Chinese food, man. I ain't gonna just let it go to waste.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
I think when Tony asked her, that's her initial reply. And then, 4 sentences later is what we see. So no, I mean, like, I think what you're suggesting is what she probably that would
have been the best case scenario.
But honestly, what she was doing was just making that decision. She was just like, I can't imagine that we're all going to sit here and discuss it and not give it to the guy whose fucking birthday it is. We're fucking human beings. I'm picking the person that I'd imagine you would pick is all that was. So should she have voiced that? Yes. And did she that we didn't see? Probably.
She may have. She probably did exactly what you just said, Johnny. She probably, after that conversation, she's like, well, I'm allergic to it. Production, that's not a good story.
No.
Her saying I'm allergic to it, but it's really good seeing a great winner all of a sudden make a dumb move. And I think that's what production wants us to see, because I think she had one of the greatest wins in the history of the game. One of them. She's in my top 5.
Oh, wow. There you go. So my number 9 is a winner of a recent season, shockingly, because I don't have very many of those. And I got Nick Wilson, number 9, David versus Goliath. I think the concept of David versus Goliath was created to make another John Cochran. Their ideal vision for that character was Christian, and Nick was there as a backup in case Christian didn't make it there. Nick was there, and he rolled with it, and not only, made his way into the end, didn't luck his way into the end, created that spot for him in the end, going on that challenge run at the end. I think he's a very deserving winner. I mentioned it last week on the podcast that, when Tony's breaking down lions and hyenas, fame-wise, yes, you can put Nick Wilson there in that hyena role. But as far as powerful, great players, I have him as a lion.
Yeah, and a great season to boot.
Yes.
As a whole.
Yeah.
That's the best season of
in 5 years.
Yeah. Yep.
So
that's your number 9.
Yes.
So I went with Sarah, and then now it's Russell's turn.
You're number 9, Russell.
Number 9 is, I'm not surprised I'm going to be with number 9 as well, but it's Earl Cole. I think Earl was the first unanimous vote. Was it Earl? Yes, Earl was the first unanimous vote. Then I think that his game it wasn't the kind you look at and say, oh, one of the greatest wins of all times. It just was a solid win. He was super likable. He was solid in challenges. And I think that he beat a good cast. I mean, not a good. I wouldn't call Fiji the great cast in the world, but all 5 were super likable characters. The final 3 was, we liked them, but I don't know how much they like Dreams and was it Cassandra? But I just like the win. I like the season, so I'm maybe veering more towards the season than I am him. But I liked his win.
Was Boo on Fiji?
Boo was on Fiji. Yeah.
So that's that you hold Fiji in a higher regard. For me personally, I consider Earl a really good friend, and I like him a lot, and I see why he won. I hated the haves and have-nots more. That's one of my most hated themes ever in the history of the show. I just loathed it. And for me personally, I don't have Earl in my top 10 because I just hated the season so much. So the concept.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
that's why I love this list, because
they had a female on that season that went out there with them. The reason they changed up everything, she went out there with them. She got off the boat and she said, "I ain't doing this," and got back on the boat and left. Nobody ever knew who she was. Just like that, she vanished like a fort in the wind. Nobody knows.
Wow.
Yeah, they didn't even edit that in to nothing.
I can't imagine doing that.
Wow.
Boo said she was the hottest girl that was on the island at that time.
I bet. And then she's gone.
Gone.
How do you go through the whole casting process, get out there and realize, have you not
as Kelly on 39?
Dude. Right on. Well,
that's crazy. I mean, that's a lot of a lot of people don't understand. It's a big process that you go through to get on these shows.
Huge.
Oh yeah,
huge. I mean, just such. So it's a huge process just to get to wherever you're playing.
Do you guys still have I still have in my stash of Survivor memorabilia printed off copies of my, fucking agreement that's like an inch thick. Do you have that?
Yeah.
Your paperwork and stuff?
I don't know. My attorney has it. I never read it.
I got my plane ticket.
Wow.
Oh, hell yeah. Is that for Pearl Islands?
I don't know. I think this one might be Micronesia.
Well, so that was number 9, right? Everyone gave the number 9 list. So we're number 8, right? So number 8, you guys are going to fucking hate me for this one. You're going to completely disagree because I think this person was on the worst winners list. Your guys' best friend, Sandra Diaz Twine, for Heroes Villains win. She made my top 10 list because no matter what people say about did Russell or Jonny Fairplay have major parts in, Sandra making it to the end of the game to where she could be in that chance of winning, she still won the second time she played, she won again. So therefore she makes my list at number 8. We're going to see someone this season win again. And Russell, we did a Q&A earlier today we recorded, and someone said, I think it was like, if Kim Spradlin wins this season Winners at War, does she take the crown from Sandra? Can anyone take the crown of Queen if there's a female winner of Winners at War?
In my opinion, if you ask me, she already lost her crown because she quit the game. That everybody knows that I have my own opinions on the fact that she quit the game. You can easily say, some people say she didn't quit because that's the theme. They could raise the flag if they want. In my opinion, she quit. So I think that she lost the crown. I don't see Kim winning this season. The way she's playing right now, it's almost that style of play. As long as it's not me, we're seeing it right now with Jeremy. As long as it's not me sitting on that stump, 3 different votes go his way. He changed his vote 4 times while he was sitting on one stump. So it's like, as long as it's not me, it works for someone like Sandra. It does not work for someone like Jeremy that strategically plays and that physically plays. Mm-hmm. It can work for somebody that you're like, as long as it's not me, I can beat this person, so I'm going to take this person to the end because they didn't do nothing.
Right.
So it worked for Sandra. I just don't.
It's not going to work for anybody else.
Well, for it to work for Kim, she has to do something to get there. If she gets there the way she's playing at this moment, I don't think she takes it.
Right.
Yeah. She's not the Kim Spradlin that we saw in One World, who, in hindsight, maybe went against one of the weakest casts ever in the history of Survivor.
So just to do a review of how I voted, I didn't vote on what is happening now, what we're seeing now. I voted on straight up their win. I didn't even really go off of their cast. I went on their win and how dominant it actually looked on paper right there while you're watching it.
Sure.
So
totally.
Okay. So who is your number 8?
My number 8 8 is Tom Westman.
Okay.
I think my number 7, number 8 are kind of the same because that was back in the day when you play honorable, just an honorable good old boy. He still holds the record, if not tied, for most challenge wins. What was he? 40-something years old. Sure. He won 5 challenges in individual immunity challenges. That's impressive, and he was just maybe the most likable winner in the history of the game. And
did you like him?
I didn't like him.
I didn't like him either. That's why he's my number 10. Like I tried to give
but we
respect.
played different. We played different.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't like the honorable wins. Oh, hey, just an honorable guy did it the right way. Can that really happen nowadays?
I don't think so anymore.
I mean, playing like that, I
don't know. Sarah Lucina gave away some fucking MSG that she was fucking allergic to, but heaven forbid that you be honorable and give away some shit that's gonna make you look like Hitch.
Right? As soon as she gives something away trying to be honorable, everybody's like, oh no, what did she just do?
Oh shit.
So yes, I respect his win. I think it was a great win, number 8.
All right. Matt, you're number 8.
No, I started off with Sandra Diaz-Twine, my number 8.
Okay, my number 8.
Yeah, you're number 8.
The Iceman, Brian Heidick.
Oh yeah.
I gotta take him out, man. I just can't put him in. I can't put him in my top 10.
I understand that. I don't have. I mean, I've been watching Dark Side of the Ring and season 2 of Dark Side of the Ring on Vice TV. It starts with the Chris Benoit story, and a lot of people are shocked that they left in the edit someone asking Jim Ross. Jim Ross saying that people ask me all the time, should Chris Benoit be in the Hall of Fame? He's like, fuck no, he fucking double murder suicide. Of course he shouldn't be in the fucking Hall of Fame. But Jim Ross gets flack for mentioning that in the document. And it's just like, well, people ask that. So I don't have what Brian Heidick allegedly did with the puppies. I like, that's not double murder suicide. And he was on this podcast and said that did not happen. Those are coyotes that were attacking his puppies. And
he missed.
Well, I don't know what happened. It was supposedly they were coyote puppies, but I do know that him and his wife at the time, I met in Vegas, the two of them, and she was crazy, and they were both saying the meanest things they could about the other one the second the other one left the room. Right. So if that was still happening, with to the police, if the police would listen to someone saying something. So I don't know. I'm just basing it on Survivor Thailand, and I have Brian Heidick. The Iceman was a special breed of excellence in the game, and I respect that. And
I gotta go back and watch that season, man.
Yeah,
I want to go back and watch that season.
Yeah, so that's my number 8.
So my number 7 was already listed by you, Jonny Fairplay, Mr. Nick Wilson, the Kentucky boy, David versus Goliath. I think, originally he could have gone home first.
He's supposed to be the first boot. If Pat doesn't get hurt, he's the first fucking boot.
And to overcome that, and, like we've always, you're like the all G shucks guy. I'm a fan of those Southern, Kentucky, the Donathans, the Tanya Vances, Elaine. I like those players.
Yeah. And Nick is a special version because he's the all G shucks, nice Southern boy, but his top 5 are Russell Hantz, Jonny Fairplay, Parvati, and Tyson.
Right. He loves those villainous hardcore players. So
it's amazing.
It is amazing. It's a cool dynamic. And we saw on, Winners at War now, last episode, he's, game on. If he want to play Winners at War. So he really hasn't shown me a lot this season with all these winners thus far, but I'm excited to see how it goes. But
yeah, you can see it coming.
Yeah, David versus Goliath was a great season, and Nick Wilson was a deserving winner.
Okay, well, we're on number 7 right now. Might as well
Yes.
say it while we
Yes.
can.
Yep.
It's Nick. Number
There you
7
go.
is Nick. I like the underdog spirit. This season, the first couple of episodes, we didn't even see him. He wasn't even there.
No.
And then all of a sudden, they're coming at him, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens at this time. Well, they're being coming at him, but he's been able to stay out of getting voted off. Now, we've seen Adam go home. Now, maybe the target goes straight on Nick, but you can see that he's a fighter. That he's like, oh, if that happens, they're coming at me. I'm tired of it. I'm doing something right now. Forget that mess.
Mm-hmm.
So
Nick is easily the next vote, or Nick creates that next big target.
Right. So we're about to see a lot with Nick right now. Now, if he goes back to how he won, I think that he can go pretty deep at this point.
I hope.
So let me ask you something real quick, Russell. So Adam Klein obviously went home, winners at war. What do you think about him trying to play the podium as an idol?
I thought it was Jeff's office. Tried to play Jeff's office as an idol. I thought it was, man, I got to give the kid credit. I mean, he was fighting every second till 10, 9, 8, 7, to the last second.
Yep.
And it's the very first Survivor that my son has ever watched with me.
Yeah.
He hasn't ever seen me play. They're just not interested in that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he sat
I'm
there
with him on that.
He was sitting there. Yeah. He was sitting there watching, and he's like, man, he was laughing at him. He's like, you think that's an idol, Dad? I'm like, I hope it is. I hope it is.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what the game is changing so much.
Yeah.
One day it may be. You never know.
I was hoping it was, dude.
Australian All-Stars, there may or may not, no, Matt hasn't seen it, no spoilers. Australian All-Stars, there may or may not be something at Tribal.
Yeah.
So it's not out of the realm of possibility.
I mean, for him to think, because you're the king of finding idols, Russell.
I don't know if I would have thought about that, man. I've never thought about looking at Tribal. And I'll be honest, I've never thought about looking around at Tribal. I never once did.
Right.
So now I will.
Mm-hmm.
Now everybody will. I think that he's changed how people are going to view Tribal Council. I think that now it will be there one day. It will be there.
Yeah.
And
I think
where you guys want it to be.
It is.
But where you guys, it will be. But was y'all thinking or hoping it was an idol? Johnny, did you think it was an idol at one point, or what was you thinking?
I was hoping it was, and I was hoping that the whole reason that we saw the scene of the reveal to Michelle is when they walked into Tribal, Michelle just made a fucking beeline straight to the podium and fucking grabbed it. I thought that would have been the greatest fucking thing. And just Adam's jaw fucking dropping.
Right.
I would have loved to have seen. I was hoping, please be an idol. I was rooting for Adam to have.
I had a feeling it wasn't, but I was like, I hope it is.
Well, I went every degree. I was hoping it was, and then I was just like, what's potentially even better if it isn't. So then I went around just okay, please don't let it be.
So,
because this would be
let's
so
say
great.
it was. Let's say it was an idol, and let's say that all worked out. Is that one of the top 3 best moves in the history of the game?
It's up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's up there.
Does that make Adam a legend immediately?
Honestly,
I think so.
If that's an idol, and going back to episode 3 of season 40, and Adam doesn't tell Boston Rob that the hit is in on Parvati, Adam Klein has achieved legend ultimate legend status, getting rid of Parvati, early boot, laughing in the face of fucking Boston Rob as you do it, and then finding that fucking idol on Jeff's office.
Right.
Boom. I mean, he's the MVP of season 40. If he does those two things, or if that happens to work, and the other, he just does it. Like there was no. I mean, I understand. I'm all about covering your bases and leaving options open, but the boss. I mean, if you're not noticing that Parvati is Boston Rob's number one, you're fucking. You don't tell a guy that dangerous that you're going to send home as number one.
Right. Right.
That's just dumb.
Terrible move. Terrible move.
And honestly, I mean, like Ethan was pretty tight with Parvati, but I still think he could have got by with telling Ethan, leaving that door open, and then not telling Boston Rob, and then not following up with Ethan, and you still have all that available to you.
Yeah.
But he was just like, I'm just going to tell every single person. And it's just like, well, how's that going to work?
Yeah, I think it was a power move. I think it was him putting his chest out to a great player and saying, hey, we're coming after her. You want to join me? Like knowing that Rob is a snake, thinking that Rob is going to be like, okay, I'll do that. I'll join on your train instead of, I don't have no other option, so I'll go ahead and do that. But Rob tried to save his alliance. We're seeing a lot of that. We're seeing the new school players not really caring about what they have going on, just jumping the train and voting. You know, we see Jeremy doing it with Denise, and then doing it with Wendell. You know, just going with it as long as it's not me voting the other way. Yeah. And we're not really seeing that much loyalty. And I think that Adam thought that would happen, that Rob would go ahead and switch, and he didn't.
He didn't. So, but yeah, it'd be a totally different story if that idol was real and if he had.
Do you say he's an all-star? Is he an all-star? Now,
Adam Klein?
If they had an all-star season, would he be considered in playing?
I would probably cast him. I
mean, he did play. Man, he worked his tail off to stay in that game. I think he's getting respect because of that.
He did.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against, like, if you show me a casting sheet with his name on it, like, I'm not going to fight you on it.
Right. They have a few people in Game Changers you'd probably fight people on, but...
Oh, my God. There are people that aren't fucking Game Changers. I mean, I don't think, like, when they did Hustlers, Heroes, whatever the Hustlers,
Triple
Heroes...
H.
Yeah, whatever the other H was. Like, those people weren't hustlers.
Right.
So and you know,
healers, hustlers, heroes.
I don't know how they come up with things like that. I don't know how they got a list for Game Changers, and Jeff was like, "Oh yeah, you hit it the nail on the head. Let's go ahead and go with Beast Mode Cowboy. They got voted out twice. I mean, got medevac twice. Let's go with Sarah. I mean, at that point, you'd be like, what?
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, like their definition of game changer. I'm just like what, like changing, like playing a shitty game, like that makes you a game changer.
But that could have been an amazing real game changer cast.
Yeah,
Jonny Fairplay could have been chosen. I could have been chosen easily. Richard Hatch could have been there. You can have had, if you're gonna go with somebody that got medevac, go with the first person that medevac. Like I know Scoopin wouldn't be chosen ever, but let's not think about that. But you see what I'm going at. They didn't have any discussion on, you know, okay, this person is a game changer because of why. Like you couldn't even sit there and explain to me why Sarah was a game changer or why was the Michaela girl on there or something? I mean,
yeah, they changed the definition of people who would, if given the opportunity to come back, how would they change their game? And I'm like, that was not what like, stop it.
It wasn't.
Stop it.
Because they got so much grief. I don't think it was Jeff. I think it was CBS that made that cast.
Probably. I mean, whoever. I don't even care. I'm just like, those were not game changer players.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like anything, man. I mean, it's fans versus favorites. Half my tribe wasn't fans. They make these stupid.
That's true.
They make this stupid fucking, you know.
They have the outline and they just fill it in with pieces.
They do. So what number were we on? So we were that number 7 was Nick Wilson on mine, and number 7 was Nick Wilson on Russell's list. So number 6 to Jonny Fairplay.
Yeah, my number 7.
Oh, you have your number 7 still. Okay.
Yeah. Yul Kwon.
Mm.
So Yul got the idol that at that time could be used after the vote, the initial use of the hidden immunity idol. They learned from that it was too powerful, and then changed the power in future seasons to where you could you had to use it before the vote. Mm-hmm. which made a big difference. And then Tyler Perry, who apparently never saw Yul's season, said, "I have a great idea, Jeff Probst. What if we do a super idol whose power is you can use it after the vote?" So I'm like, oh, the Yul Kwon.
He did say my name in the audience, by the way.
Tyler Perry did?
Yeah, during the live show.
Well, there you go. He needs this shirt.
That's awesome.
All right, so what's that? I'm purposely cutting that off. Yeah,
yeah, you had me at the bottom.
There's a symmetry to the type, and it's there's alphabetical.
Cool. Yeah, I like that. You come up with some good shirts.
I tried. Did you see the new Tony Nachos?
Yeah, I seen it.
Tony loved it.
Right.
Did you know it was pronounced Vlachos and not Vlachos?
Yeah,
it's Tony Vlachos.
Okay.
I always thought it was Vlachos. So Wendell called me to tell me that it's just like, dude, you're horrifically mispronouncing it. And then, of course, Lex and Matt go, "You should make a Tony Nachos shirt." So anyway, I did. But yeah, no, I just thought Yul's mastered the game. And honestly, I thought one of the coolest moments in the history of the show is Cowboy dreaming of being in Vietnam, and all the people coming up to you with the credit card options, just like, "Hey, you can use this credit card, you can use," and splitting up, the money that you owe. And Cowboy has this crazy dream and explains it to Yul, and he goes, "Hey, whoever we think has the hidden immunity idol, we do it like these credit cards. We split our votes." And Cowboy invented the split vote strategy, which was the only power against the hidden immunity idol that had that power. But he told the guy that had the hidden immunity idol, which once again, kudos to Yul for making himself that trusting as a player.
Right.
Yeah. Rob split the vote in Heroes versus Villains. It's funny how he did it, because he comes back, and after he goes for his walk, when he was on his walk, he comes back and says, "Hey guys, I have a great idea. Why don't we split the votes that way?" And then that's when I tried to get Tyson to change his vote to Parvati. But it's funny how right when he comes back, he goes straight to the tent, and that's when you see that conversation of him wanting to split the vote.
Right.
Wow.
That's
he is one of the greatest players ever. And new I Hate Rob in black special edition shirt available at Jonny Fairplay.
So number 6.
Yes.
So I'll take it. So Jonny Fairplay, I think you've never met this guy.
Maybe
you claim that you hate him. Oh. This guy's not going to be on your list. He's on my list, because anyone that beats me on my own season, right. I got to give props to you. John Cochran, Survivor Caramoan, the most unlikely winner. I think Don did a lot of the dirty work. You can say what you want about Cochran. Jeff Probst, loves this guy. But overall, I thought, the season as a whole, even though I played it, I don't think it's a great season. But I'm gonna put John Cochran a number 6 on my list. And I know he's not on any of your guys' lists.
He's my number 1.
Oh shit.
He is not.
Do you think if John Cochran out there at the Legend season that he would be a huge target?
Yeah. Oh God, yes. Possibly bigger than you. Like if he's not,
please bring John Cochran back.
Yeah, he's right there with
bigger
you.
Than me.
You did yourself no like I tell people I go Russell when he's here when I have conversations with Russell. I see this human side of him that a lot of people don't see. And people have noticed when you've been on here with us versus your own clickbait podcast that there's a human element to you. But for every 2 steps you take forward, you take 4 fucking leaps back, and your top 10 worst quitters did yourself no favors with anyone on that list. And anyone that's friends with those.
You're the only one on that list that's going to play again. I ain't got to worry about it.
But friends of those people. I mean, I've got so many, and I'm just like, it's clickbait.
Hey, I got to do my thing, man. I understand
it's clickbait, but for someone that's potentially wanting to play again, you honestly alienated probably 40 survivors this weekend.
Yeah. I don't like him anyway.
Wait. Explain to me, Johnny. So Russell's
top 10 worst quitters. He's got Jenna Maraska, whose mom was dying.
Mm-hmm.
Got home. Her mom dies 8 days later.
I just don't think that she should have went out and played. So I'm going to say what I think. I feel sorry for what happened, but I just don't think she should have even went out there. She knew the situation. She shouldn't have played.
Yeah.
And it's an all-star. And, it's a super great season.
Yeah.
So what are you saying, Johnny, about you pissed off 40 people?
I don't well, hold on. I don't know this for a fact, but maybe she thought her mom was going to be okay. And then when she's out there, she gets the eggy, hey, maybe you should go home.
Yeah, maybe that's the case. I don't know that either.
I if I had to guess, I would think it was.
Yeah.
Okay. And so
I'll take her off the list.
Okay.
Damn,
Jonny Fairplay on that list. Should I have said no to fans versus favorites?
No way.
In the grand scheme of things, I should have said no. However, my jaw was wired, and I had a mouth guard for I had a white mouth guard and a pink mouth guard for challenges. So I'm like, you know what? I think I'm okay. I had no idea or no reason to put in my mouth guard when the game starts. And the young man pushed my head into the side of the boat.
Right.
That was.
I mean, I see your argument. How come medical didn't take you out though? You know what I mean?
I mean, it wasn't. I mean, like it was just pain. It was pain. Pain beyond.
Well, they
pain.
were giving Shambo pain pills while she was.
They were not giving me pain pills. So, but the person in charge of my beach was this young new producer who was just like, "Oh, I'm going to show you who's boss and not give you anything." And then when the main producer who had been with me on Pearl Islands, he shows up day 4, he comes to the Ponderosa. He goes, "What the fuck happened?" And I was just like, "I don't know." That like Yellowman pushed my head on the side of the boat. I was fucking dying, and he's just like, "Why didn't they give you pain pills?"
Do you think that is going to have? Did you think at any point in time, from that season till 10 years later, that was hurting your chances on playing again?
I think it did for a while. I think I'm okay now. I think it had a huge impact for a while. And honestly, so the guy was just like, "Why didn't they give you pain pills?" I'm like, "They didn't." That guy goes back to the game. Like, he showed up on day 4, talked with me, went back, fired that producer. Wow. He was just like, "Hey, you're the one that thought it would be a good idea not to give Jonny Fairplay pain pills, because even though the guy knocked his fucking head in the side of the boat and you saw that," he's like, "Yeah," he goes, "Get the fuck off my set."
Do you think that pain pills would have worked?
Yeah.
What about Advil or Tylenol?
I think anything would have worked. At least I had 15 hours of surgery over the course of 2 days, 8 days before I went out there.
I don't think you should have gone and played.
I shouldn't have gone. But as I said, like, I felt with my jaw wired and with my mouth guards, I was just like, what's the worst that could happen?
I mean, it's one of those deals. You don't want to say no to the second chance you have to play a game.
If you would have said no, you would be the biggest commodity right now in the history of the game.
I just wish they had told me at the time.
Don't you think so? If you had said no,
I do. I think so.
I think if they had told me, if you say no, we will bring you back, then I would have said no.
Yeah,
they never said that. So
you never know how. Yeah,
this was at the time where the first time someone came back was season 8. They did All Stars, and then this is the first thing. Season 16 is the first thing. It's just like they don't do this shit often. The show could get canceled. You know?
Right. It's easier said than done. Like we can speculate all.
Yeah, because I should have said no the third time I played. It's ridiculous. I don't even know why I went out there. It was nothing special. Why did I even do it? So I'm like, but it's hard to say no to that game, man.
Yeah. Dude.
That could have potentially been like if Rob somehow had 10 fans of his. If you had 10 fans of yours, then you could have done good too, but you didn't.
Right. That's exactly what happened. But we'll go on with the list. But
I just don't understand how you do. Like if you're doing a rival season, if you're having, Rob is just like, here, I got my 10. Then why wouldn't you give the other guy 10 to be like, I got my 10 too?
I was told directly because I was dating Krista for a little while and super close with Stephanie. They specifically asked. Stephanie was a no on. No, Stephanie was the yes. Krista was a no on Russell. Yeah. So even Krista didn't want to play with me. Nobody there wanted to play with me. Stephanie did want to play with me. And they asked him specifically, would you play with Russell Hantz? Would you play with Rob?
Yeah, I just don't understand. On a season with rivals, you're supposed to be bringing your squad.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
so I don't even know how we got on this kick, but so my number 6 was John Cochran. Who's up next, Russell?
My number 6 is Jeremy. I think Jeremy had an all-around, almost a perfect game. I mean, everything about it was right. So he is, the way he's playing now, it's almost the same, but it's weird how you still like him. You still want him to do well, but he's just not strategically playing right now. He's not at all trying to take control of anything. He's just, as long as it's not me. Do you guys see what I'm seeing, what he's doing now?
Oh yeah. I mean, his eyes lighten up this, when everything was crazy at camp, like
he's doing OG Chucks. I think that's why he doesn't like Nick Wilson, because he sees Nick Wilson doing the same game he is.
Yeah, I definitely think that you're seeing a more game like you're describing, Russell, like versus when he won,
he's playing a much looser game.
He is. But we're still, if Jeff Probst says this is one of the greatest seasons of all time, like we said, Johnny, it could get crazy and we could start seeing him step his game up. He's a likable guy, and
somebody's about to. Yeah, somebody has to.
Yeah. And when Jeff changes the end game from 1 million to 2 million, it tightens up your asshole a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, but we're seeing that happen with people like Kim too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kim's like, 2 million. Whew, well, let me just keep that fart in.
Oh shit.
Okay, so
your number 6, Fairplay.
My number 6. You said him earlier. I'm much higher. Chris Daughtry. To be able to battle against 4 girls at the end, or 4 or 5, however, I think the deck was definitely stacked against him. And if you're picking, a male that's somehow going to schmooze them over or work past it, and I don't think on paper Chris Daughtry's that guy, and he was that guy, and he was to the 11th degree. I think it was really amazing what he did. I think he's still riding off the fanfare of season 8 All-Stars, in which they do have a lot of viewers still watching. There's a lot of memorable characters and great characters. I mean, some strong players in the history of Survivor: Eliza Orlins, Amy Kuzak, Twyla. Those are strong players that he played against. And I give him all the credit in the world. I think he easily falls at number 6 spot. And going back to Jeremy, who is not on my list, Russell, I just feel that the season he won was kind of in that blah run of seasons that weren't really moving the ratings needle one way or the other,
right,
based on anything other than just being Survivor.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So that was your number 6.
Yes.
So we back to me for number 5.
Correct.
Kim Spradlin, One World. We've discussed this before. Russell has said, man, she freaking dominated. We're not seeing that this time, and we're kind of questioning, man, was it just her cast? Were they that sucky that put her on this pedestal? But judging her as a winner on that season, she was the complete package. She was very smart. She was calm, and we're seeing that calm kind of demeanor now. I mean, earlier in Winners at War,
deer in headlights.
Kim Spradlin was not doing jack shit. We're finally seeing her
a glimpse
emerge to, finally you're going to start playing the game.
Try to make moves, but making the wrong moves.
Right. But as far as judging off One
That's
World,
better than no moves.
Right.
One World being a shit overall season, Kim Spradlin, I think, played a great game in those circumstances, and she's my number 5.
I don't have Kim on my list.
Judging by what you're seeing now?
I can't.
It's kind of hard not to.
I can't unsee what I see now.
Right. Yeah.
I see it. I literally saw a deer in headlights, and I'm just like, wow, are you not what?
It's exactly what it was.
Yeah. You are not delivering what is advertised.
She was so confused, she started crying. Like
Yeah.
it was so overwhelming, so overwhelming for her.
Yeah.
That
she cried.
She couldn't take it. Yeah.
But I did not take into consideration Winners at War on my criteria.
There's no.
Right, if I would take it like Johnny's doing, there's no way she'd be in my top 10, but she is because I didn't take in consideration this season.
Right, and that's the beauty of these lists for 3 of us doing it.
It's so. We're always saying, oh, it's the cast, it's the cast. We're literally being able to see that in motion. That yes, the cast matters.
Yep.
We're watching it happen to where, yeah, it was an easy cast. Well, how you know it was an easy cast? How you know they wasn't all dominated? Well, Kim, that's how we know.
Yeah. There you
go.
So that was my number. What was that? My number 5. Russell Hantz, your number 5.
Now my number 5 is one of my favorite seasons of all time. Y'all might have had him. I don't know. One of y'all think it may have had him in your worst, but I liked his win, and it's JT. I thought JT's win was solid. It's so solid. I put him in number 5. I thought that Fishback had a better game, and he was so likable. He had another unanimous vote that he beat Fish. He beat a good player. Because I was thinking that Fishback should have won the game, and I just have to put him at my number 5. I enjoyed his season.
I'm a fan of JT.
Yeah, I don't have him in my top 10, and once again, I think it's game changers and writing love notes to Russell Hantz on Heroes Villains.
He got worse as he went along. He got worse and worse and worse.
Yeah,
he got so bad that he'll never be called again.
Yeah, that's insane. For someone that like
was
so likable.
You could easily talk me into putting JT on my top 5. Easily.
Yeah.
But then, as I said, you just watch the next season, you're just like, hey, I have a question. Right. And then you watch his last, you're just like, hey, can we revisit this?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I had to forget about all 11 seasons he played and just think of the one that he actually won. He was one of the most popular players. He was so liked. I remember thinking, man, this guy's he could run for president right now. Now he can't even. Yeah, now he can't even play the game anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad, isn't it? Because JT.
It is. Is it the game that did that to him, though? Is it the game that brought him to the good old Southern boy to what he became?
I think the fame did.
Yeah.
I think the fame introduced the other stuff into his life that
made it spiral out of control.
Yeah. So, all right. My number 5 has already been mentioned, but I have him. I'm top 5, and I think this guy earns the spot, and he earned it by earning it. Mike Holloway is my number 5. I mean, I just is one of those. If you don't win, you're fucking going home, and he's like, I'm just gonna fucking win. And I know it was amazing television. It was the exact opposite of Ben on
Triple H.
It's just like, he has to win, but what if he doesn't? We'll figure it out. It's just like, what? So Mike won and won, and he's so like, have you met Mike Holloway, Russell?
Yeah, I've met him once.
Yeah. He's just full of it, in a good way.
He's a solid dude.
I was at the table with him at a poker table, and somebody, I don't know who it was, I think it was the dealer, actually recognized me and said, you that guy? He was sitting right next to me, and he just won his season. You that guy from Survivor? I'm like,
well, no, the best
Can I get a picture, man? Taking a picture with me, and Mike is right next to me, and his season just ended.
The best is when you're sitting beside a winner like that at an event, like that. They're just like, "Hey, aren't you that guy that won Survivor?" You're like, "Yep."
Yeah. And they had one time I was with RC, and we was at this fair. I don't know where it was, but somebody come up to her and said, "Oh yeah, he was on Survivor," and asked me to take the picture. I'm like, "Little girl, you don't know what you just did."
I would like to take lots of pictures of RC.
I think she's married now.
Is she?
Oh man,
I think so.
Okay,
maybe divorced by now, but she was married.
Okay, at one time married. I mean, I could see why someone would want to marry her.
Right.
She's beautiful, smart, good girl.
So where were you at? Number 4?
Yeah,
number 4. Yeah.
Okay, so Ethan's on Survivor Africa. Now, like I said, I'm not basing this. Ethan really didn't do much at all on this season Winners at War, except have an epic Edge of Extinction performance. I think Ethan was one of those guys, as Jonny Fairplay, you've said, he wasn't the nice guy everyone thought he was. He had, he had some
he's a
scumbag. But for me, I'm a fan since season 1, and I start loving this show. And Ethan comes along, and it's this soccer player, this long-haired dude that's just young and full of energy, and one of the greatest seasons of Survivor. I mean, if you watch it now, I kind of started to rewatch it not too long ago, and I'm like, damn, like this is like, there's like no, Jeff Probst is not saying shit during the challenges. It's just a lot.
There's no music.
No music. It's just a completely different game. It's pre-HD television.
Yeah.
But I think Ethan played a great game, and he's a survivor in every stretch of how you look at it. But Ethan's my number 4.
I feel like Ethan's deal is comparable to Wendell and Dominic's. You had Ethan, Big Tom, and Lex collectively working as a 3-headed monster.
Yep.
And that for me worked against Ethan, because I think it was the collective that ran through that season. I mean, I love the collective, but I felt it was a group effort. And I also was trying to be a little objective and not show favoritism for friends.
Mm-hmm.
And, I knew that
on your list, you mean?
Yeah, on my list. And I knew I would get a little bit of that, because of the Nick Wilson thing, but apparently not. You guys were right there with me. And so I think my fairness was actually worked as a prejudice. And I don't have Ethan on my list, and I feel like I probably should have. But as I said, I wasn't trying to show that favoritism.
Right. No, it makes sense. Makes sense. Right on. So, Russell Hantz, number 4 on your list.
Okay, number 4. Now you might be a little shocked with this, but I went with Sarah because I just think she did what it took that season to win the game. She stabbed people in the back, her own alliance. Then they trusted her. They trusted in her. She is boring. She may be one of the most, in my opinion, she just got the same facial expression. She calls it a resting bitch face. I agree with her. Mm-hmm. And I just think it was a dominant win. And now I'm just not seeing what you guys are seeing right now when it comes to her playing a great game at this point in time. I'm not seeing it.
Do you think she's hot?
I don't think she's hot. I'm not saying she's ugly, but I just think she's.
I think she's hot. I sit there.
You think she's hot? Yeah. You know. The weird thing is, I'm kind of starting to think that Sophie's cute, and it's weird that.
Well, I can tell you this: Sophie's looks a hell of a lot. Like I never in a million years, if someone's like top 50 hottest survivors, Sophie would not be on my list. Not that I think she's ugly, but Sophie is definitely more. I always thought of her as this just like bland nerd type character. She's more athletic and better looking and smart. She is. Like Yul and Sophie are the 2 players this season that I was like, I could care less about seeing these 2 players. That's the most surprising on a good surprise out of anybody on the season. Those 2 players have surprised me.
Yeah. So you think she's hot, Sarah? Because I'm like, what's happening?
Well, I think for me with Sarah, like I just think she's a badass. She's like a marathon runner. She's just like that athletic CrossFit, like badass. Jonny and I, Jonny thought the redheaded chick Victoria.
Did she take the crown?
Sophie, no. I'd rather fuck Nick Wilson than Sophie.
You've heard it. Someone, please take that audio clip.
Get that soundbite.
You think she's ugly?
No, I'm just not. I mean, honestly, I think she's had some really cute moments this season. But that meme with the little blonde kid with the fucking buck teeth making that face, and then Sophie making that same face. Yes, that's all I see whenever I see her now.
Oh no.
that's not helping her cause. So,
right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Sarah. I say Sarah, number 4.
Yeah. Okay. My number 4, Tony Nachos.
Tony.
Good choice.
I love that Cagayan is just like in the history of Survivor. You're looking at those great fucking seasons. For me personally, there's some that leap off the paper. I have Africa, I have Pearl Islands, I have All Stars, I have Heroes, Villains, and I have fucking Cagayan.
Cagayan is great.
So,
and a little just leading right into it. Tony Nachos is my number 3. My top 3, crazy player, just off the wall. And I'll kind of like put it like this: like when I first saw Russell Hantz play Survivor, I was like, this dude. And I'm not just saying this because you're on the podcast. As a Survivor fan prior to me playing, I'm like, this motherfucker is playing a game like I've never seen before. I was instantly in love with that character and that gameplay. And I think that when Tony Vlachos came along, he was another one of those just like, dude, you are different. You're on a different level of play.
He reinvented the wheel.
That you never think like, oh, what could someone do differently? But the spy shacks and the just just super like balls to the wall gameplay character, larger than life dude with the shitty tribal tattoo. Tony Vlachos is my number 3. I love the guy. I love him. So,
Russell, you're number 3.
Number 3. I hate to say this, and y'all, one of you had him in the worst, and I'm gonna say number 3. I got to be true to myself and say Rob. Rob is a great player. He just he did well in All Stars. But he's the same style player every time he plays. That style just doesn't work any longer. When he played with the cast that I thought was given to him, he still overwhelmed them. He still dominated the season. He still sat them down like little puppy dogs. He's doing the same thing at EOE that he does in the game. They follow him like little puppy dogs. He says, "Oh, hurry up. The tide's coming. Hurry now. Get over here." And everybody just, that's what's going to be interesting about seeing Adam go to EOE. I don't think he's going to do that. He's going to go on his own. I hope not.
So, well, I mean, we haven't seen Wendell. I mean, like you see everyone hanging out together. You're not seeing Wendell and Yule, because I'm sure Wendell and Yule's like, I'm not listening to this asshole tell me what the fuck to do.
Right.
Well, Johnny has obviously makes jokes about how much he hates Boston Rob. Boston Rob, I think, is one of the most, and Johnny, you'll say this too. He's a legend. He's one of the most iconic Survivor players ever. The reason that I did not have him on my top 10 list is for the sake of how long it took. It's kind of like they made this season easy for Boston Rob. When you got Philip Shepard, you know what I mean? It's like,
right. It was easy, but what I did is I put
$1 million.
I put both of them in perspective. All Stars as well. He was playing with some good players at All Stars, and then that wasn't Amber. That was all Tony. I mean, that was all Rob.
Yeah.
So, he had 2 good performances in the game of Survivor, even though they're exactly the same type performances.
Yeah.
Can he ever change? Can he, like, we're seeing Tony completely play different.
Rob has no adaptability.
Yeah.
And honestly, on his win season, was it dominant? Yes. Was it, possibly the most dominant win we've ever seen? As a viewer, there was nothing worse than watching people play a game that this one asshole is not allowing them to play, and nothing changes.
Well,
like if we had an uprising, it's just like, hey, fuck this dude. But we don't see it. We just see this dude going, you guys go in pairs, you report to me, this is it. And like, I'm supposed to enjoy that? That was dog shit.
You guys talk about, I'm just going to say something. So you guys talk about adaptability and like the dudes aren't playing. If Russell Hantz, if you play again and Jonny Fairplay, you play again, am I going to see a fucking different game from you guys?
So I'm going to go cuddle with the pretty girl immediately. I mean,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
I 100% would play. Now, I have to almost go with the flow. I'm not even almost. I have to go with the flow and hope that someone hates someone else, and we'll get rid of Russell later. So I cannot play strategically. That's why I'm like in Tony's game.
But are you going to be able to? You know what I mean? It's kind of like
that's right. I don't know.
Because if they call, that's you say it, but I just think that, dude, it's your instinct. Your instinct as a human. It's kind of like, I'm not tonight. You know what? I'm not gonna have sex with this like beautiful naked woman in my bed. I'm just not gonna do it. I'm gonna be I'm gonna wait till the second. I'm gonna wait till this. She wants to fuck right now, but I'm gonna be a gentleman and wait till the second date. No, you're fucking not. You're gonna go. You're gonna be like, damn, I can't control myself. You guys go out on Survivor. Fairplay.
What about you, Fairplay? You think you can change?
You're the. I don't consider you.
I'm at it. For me personally, I'm at a completely different stage in my life.
True.
So am I. That's the thing. That's the entire. Now, when I played, dude, I had it all wrapped up. I had the whole thing. I let all that get the best of me. Like Fairplay, you said I seen this thing that you said one time about me breaking a pool stick at a party or something, and I'm like,
I threw your Heroes Villains finale party.
So I'm thinking, I'm thinking to myself, what the hell? Like, I don't remember it. And then I'm thinking, I was an asshole, straight up. Like, that's not the person I even want to be. That's not the person who I am now, and that's not who I want to be. Yes, I say some things on YouTube to get attention. Yes,
some
and
clickbait.
It gets attention. Yes, I do stuff like that. That's fine. It's a business right now when it comes to that.
I get that part.
Me as a person, I don't go out and drink, not at all anymore. I don't even do the events anymore. You know, first of all, I want to apologize for doing something like that to you, Johnny, because that's not who I ever wanted to be. That's not who I am. And, you know, it's not cool that I did something like that. I couldn't believe that and it's even worse that I don't even remember it. So, you know, I apologize for that.
No, all good. So, no, we're at different places. So no,
I'm already playing a better game.
You're already, you started getting
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, fair play. Yeah, I would love to watch both you guys play again, and then talk about it on the podcast. Like, told you so, Russell. I knew you fucking ass couldn't go.
What the hell were you doing day one?
Yeah. Day one, two hot chicks.
I love it.
Fucking what was her name? Who was the chick? I can't remember her name. Anyway.
So what number are we at? Are we number 2?
Number 3.
Number 3 still. Okay, cool. So you're at number 3.
I'd Rob.
Okay, so my number 3 winner of the second season of Survivor, Tina Wesson.
Solid.
I think the deck was stacked for a Colby win, and I think she bamboozled him. I think she outplayed. I think there's a likability of Tina Wesson that is almost immeasurable, and I give her a lot of credit for that. And to be the first female winner, you know, the first of anything, I think gives you immediate points on my rating system. Yeah. And so my number 3 is easily Tina Wesson.
She would be the one that I have on the outside looking in. Tina would be my honorable mention for sure.
I get it.
Tina rules. Man, 2 more left. Number 2 for me, I say her name wrong all the time. Poverty Shallow. Micronesia. Johnny, I mean, as much as you talk shit on her, you've given her props on playing the single best game of Survivor. I don't know the exact quote, but she played an amazing game.
The best game of U.S. Survivor I've ever seen was played on Heroes Villains by Parvati, in my estimation.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, Poverty, I'm not seeing, I mean, you guys both know her personally. I think she's a great player. She's Winners at War, not so much. We really didn't see much at all.
She's still there.
She is still there.
Yes, she's still there. but you even see her, you see Poverty knowing that she's not playing when she finds this advantage thing, saying, I finally did something.
Right.
You know,
right.
So we're actually seeing her admit that on camera, which was, to me, I was like, yeah, you finally, what did you do? Because she had so much opportunity to work with Nick or to try to get Nick with all that, the advantages she had, trade something away, do something, try to go, she didn't even try to. So
nope.
She had a great win. I've always said that if you're going to give it to Sandra, if you're going to give it to someone besides me, there she is. Mm-hmm. Give it to Poverty. I said that publicly. So she oozes sex appeal. Like the girl knows what she's doing. I don't know if it comes natural. I don't know what it is, but you're just drawn to it.
I think it's a natural thing.
No,
I do. I really do. I think sex appeal is a natural thing. My wife has always had sex appeal where like men, women, straight women, they all want to fuck my wife.
Jonny Fairplay.
It's like this. Yeah, you can just spot that type of person, and she has got that. And she's on.
I remember talking. Remember Erica Shea?
Yeah,
Johnny.
Yeah.
Well, when they were at casting, we would talk. I was part of the group for a little while, believe it or not. And we was at a party with Erica, Laura Delicali, all of them, Ann O'Grady.
Sure.
We were sitting there at that party, and she was telling me the first time I knew that we was going to choose Parvati is she was going up a glass elevator, and while she was in the elevator, she was just constantly looking around and checking out her own ass. So she was like, when she was doing that, I was like, oh yes, this is the one. So she just turned around. So she's a great person too. She's a good person. She's super likable. Jerry told me, I used to tell Jerry, if you ever, was it Jerry? I think it was Jerry, not Jerry. It was RC. And I was like, if you ever meet her, you'll see what I'm talking about. And then RC met her and was like, you know what? She's sitting there talking to my boyfriend. And I was like, go ahead, you can have him. You can have him. She said she was so charming. I wanted to sleep with her. She's pretty charming.
I'm on the opposite side of that spectrum, but that's okay.
Maybe because that was back in the day. And then maybe you rubbed her the wrong way.
She tried. She put on the full court press, and I was just like, I can fuck better at home. And then she walked back like a dude. That's not the answer she was looking for. So it's true. I mean, I was married to an America's Next Top model. I'm sorry, Parvati wasn't on America's Next Top anything.
No, she wasn't.
So,
holy shit.
Okay.
So number 2.
That was your
number 2. Yes. Okay. My number 2 is it me here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, real quick. Parvati is not on any of my. She's not on this list.
She didn't make my list either.
There you go.
So my number 2 is Kim. Now I'm basing it on her season. She had the most dominant win. I used to say the best ever. I just couldn't put her at number 1 due to what I'm seeing now. It kind of was like put a little bitter taste in my mouth, but still.
And Natalie White would be offended.
Yes, of course. Because I have Natalie White number 1 for sure. God with Sandra Diaz-Twine. No, but I just think, man, I remember being in awe of how much she dominated that season. Not only strategically, she was like a mother to them. And it's so much that you have someone, or Kat, she balling. She thought she was her mother at one time. My own mom voted me out. Mm-hmm. So, and then not only that, she won physically. She won 4 challenges in a row to get herself to the end of the game. I thought it was a dominant performance.
Hell yeah, she's badass on that season. We'll see if it happens on the rest of winter.
We're watching. We're waiting.
We are.
I think it's over. I don't think she's going to do anything. We do see her trying to start playing the game, wanting Nick out. Didn't work out, but maybe this is a starting to where it goes further. But I think, like Johnny said, her butthole's so puckered up right now. Yeah. I think it stays that way.
Yeah.
I would like to see that. That I would be into.
Right.
I would.
Do you think she's hot?
I'd like to look at her puckered up butthole. I mean, if I have the option of any Kim Spradlin photo that I could have, that would be my number 1 pick.
Oh my God.
I mean, I'm trying to finish too, folks.
Well, she easily, to me, knocked herself out of any potential legend season.
Yeah,
because we're seeing people. We're not seeing too many enter into that gallery, but we're seeing some step away from it, in my opinion.
That's a good point.
I'm with you. So, I do not have Kim on my list. So, as I said, I can't unsee what I've seen this season.
I get it. I understand it.
So, my number 2 is The Godfather, Richard Hatch. I know you're expecting me to say Godfather Carl, but he did not win David versus Goliath. I mean, I think Richard Hatch created the alliance. I mean, I agree with you, Russell, that, at some point they had to figure out, hey, let's vote together versus voting separately. But it honestly took someone to fucking say it for it to happen. And he's the guy that said it.
Right.
So, and I mean, and there was some stiff competition on that season. I mean, you know, Jenna Lewis is out there, Rudy is out there, Sue Hawk is out there, Kelly Wigglesworth is. I mean, there are some good players playing. Jervis Peterson. There's some great players playing that first season. Yes, they're figuring out the game. Richard Hatch figured it out first in a season of great players. And potentially super great players, you know, if given the opportunity to play again. Like Jenna Lewis comes back and plays All-Stars, she's one decision away from potentially winning. You know, if she goes with Rupert and Big Tom over Rob and Amber, she potentially wins.
Right.
I agree. Therefore, he is my number one pick.
There you go.
Is Richard Hatch. And like you said, Russell, I don't think now. I think if Richard Hatch was on the cast of Winners at War, he would not be in the game. I think he would have been an early boot. It's a different game now, but the inventor, of the Alliance for Survivor, the very first winner of this game that no one had, it was brand new. So you had nothing to go off of. So for that man to win against all those other players in this brand new game, he makes my list as the number one winner of all time.
Okay, my number one is Tony. I think Tony played in a game to where we're seeing the new school players and playing that aggressive style of play and still dominate. He put everything together. He lied, cheat, stole his way all the way to the end and got the votes. I think he would have got the votes with or without Spencer's speech. I think that he had that season in the bag as soon as Wu made that terrible decision by bringing him to the end.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I think
great game.
I think a lot of people give Spencer too much credit there, and I think probably Spencer gives himself too much credit there. I think Tony wins without that as well.
Right. So I think
it didn't hurt anything.
It just was I was watching it thinking that I'm watching myself almost. But
yeah, he's got a lot of elements.
He won and I didn't. So it's like his social game was good. People like him. That's why we see now. We see we don't even hear his name. That's probably because they like him. You know, he's his social game is in play at this point. So
right on. Jonny Fairplay, it all boils down to this.
Right.
The number one winner of all time for Jonny Fairplay.
And how amazing is this? The same player was on my top worst winners list.
Sandra Diaz-Twine.
My number one is winner of Heroes versus Villains, Sandra Diaz-Twine.
She was on my worst.
I had her on the worst for Pearl Islands. I brought her to the end. She did nothing. I don't care what she did on Heroes versus Villains. I consider Heroes versus Villains one of the greatest seasons in the history of the show, with easily the greatest cast ever assembled in the history of Survivor up until now, and including now. I think Heroes Villains was the greatest cast. And Sandra Diaz-Twine.
My point of view, Fairplay, because I played with her, and I'm like, okay, reverse it a little bit. You played with her, and seen what she did, and I see your point that she, played with great players and still got to the end of the game.
She won.
Yeah, and won the game.
And not only did she win, she won being a winner. Like, there is no way, like as on All Stars, they got there and they basically just looked at each other and they said, hey, nothing personal. If you've already won $1 million, you ain't winning another $1 million here.
Right.
That was it. It was written in stone. Done deal. The fact that did not happen on Heroes.
They didn't even talk about that, actually. That was never even a thing.
That is insane. That should have been like on the beach. It's like, hey, you won.
Okay, do you think that if somebody wins the $2 million and they're a legend, are we going to be like, if we're both there, saying, they they won $2 million. I wouldn't be thinking that. I wouldn't be thinking, oh, because they won this. It's almost like, let's check your bank account before the game starts, and whoever has the least amount, we'll give it to. Like, I don't care if Bill Gates is there. If he played a better game, I'm voting for him.
By the time we get to season 50, you can put whatever parameters you want on there. But season 8 was early enough that I agree with those parameters, and I feel season 20 was still early enough in the history of the game that you can say, "Fuck you, you've already won $1 million."
Well,
to be the first and only person to win 2 times, I'm sorry, you're the greatest person on this list.
So, what you just said,
to beat what I consider the greatest game ever played on U.S. Survivor by Parvati Shallow, who I don't even like.
Yeah.
She beat the person that played the best game I've ever seen. She's obviously the best winner on my list.
No, that makes sense. It doesn't surprise me. I'm just saying, Russell, if Tony, like you, Tony Vlachos was your number. Was he your number one?
Number one, yes.
Okay, he's your number one. So if Tony wins Winners at War,
he's the greatest player to ever play. I would put him. I would say publicly that he's just the greatest player because he went out there. That's almost like you're saying with Sandra. He goes out there with a huge target on his back. I had him going number 2. Rob and Tony.
Yeah,
and
I had him early.
Way bigger target than Sandra ever had. And if he actually wins, you got to say he's the greatest that ever played.
I'll give him. I'm more than happy to give him that accolade. I would love to give Tony Nachos the accolade of greatest survivor ever. I have no problem with that.
With that being said, though, like he has
who beats him? The players that's sitting there now, who beats him if they go to the end?
No one.
No one.
So, so what I'm saying is, so he already is a legend. So if he comes back and plays Legends with you guys, he's definitely a target to go early.
I would think so, but he's
he wins
likable though. We don't really know
if he wins. If he wins season 40, I don't think he comes back.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it took everything they had to get him to come back for 40. I think he's just done.
I don't blame that.
And I think he also knows, like, say 50 is Super Survivor or Legends. I would love to think that Legends happens way before then, or a old school news.
I might not play at that time.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ, right?
Up there, man. Gee.
Yeah, 25 fucking years is a long fucking time from season 1.
Right.
So I think if he wins, he doesn't play that. So I think it's that simple. But no, I think if he wins 40, I have no problem calling him the new king of pop.
Yeah, who doesn't play? Who doesn't come back? Does Parvati come back? Does Sandra come back?
Sandra comes back.
I don't think she does.
I do.
Does
I don't think Parvati comes back.
Does Rob come back?
No, I don't foresee that. I see like if Wendell had a chance to come back, I think if Tyson had a chance to come back, I think Boston Rob, Sandra.
I don't know about Tyson. I think Tyson might be on the no list. He loves being at home, but
I don't know. I think Tyson comes back. I think Rob's done.
I don't know. I think Sandra comes back. I think the only one I can safely say does not come back is Tony Nachos. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that's the only one that does not come back.
Especially if he wins $2 million.
Yeah, if he wins. Yeah. That's the only caveat there. If he doesn't, maybe if at 50, maybe he comes back.
Right on.
What if Tyson wins? I had Tyson as my winner. If he wins, does he come back?
I don't think so. I think Tyson has enough money, with Marriage Boot Camp, with winning Blood versus Water, and with potentially $2 million more dollars. I think he happily spends the rest of his life raising those 2 little girls with his wife.
Right.
So, and I am not faulting him. And if he gets called out, it's just like, dude, why did you come out? I was like, motherfucker, I won life.
Right.
This is end game right here.
Right.
I ain't winning season 50 if I just won this.
Yeah.
So go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Right.
So, who has a better shot in coming back and winning a legend season?
From season 40?
I would think it would be the ones that's left now. If it would be, let's say, Kim comes back, I think it just mess her game up to where everybody would be like, you can get her later.
Yeah, I mean, like someone coming from season 42 to a season 50, like Wendell, I think has a great chance.
There was a huge threat at the time. Like Kim was a huge threat.
Yeah.
I thought Wendell would make his way into the middle of the game, and that's what he did. But Kim was some people, I think, said her name at the beginning, that she was dangerous. They said Sarah's name, and she's still there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's kind of open for any of those. I mean, like I don't think anyone's done anything yet on season 40 to cement their. I mean, like Denise is not the fucking queen.
Yeah, no, they one episode we seen them praising Denise, and then she falls off the map. Yeah, they don't even choose her for the challenge.
Exactly. You don't get chosen for a schoolyard pick. You're not the cool
I
kid.
like Denise as a person. I think she's a badass human. But yeah, as far as that goes, I don't think Denise has a chance. She's definitely not legend status.
Yeah, and no one had. We didn't. We just did the top 10 best winners. Not one person had her on a list. And you could say, hey, she went to every single tribal council. I'm just like, yeah, that. I don't think that's impressive that you went to every single tribal council.
Right.
Maybe you didn't do what you should have to avoid a tribal council here and there.
I just wanted to say something real quick since you said something like that. She went to every single tribal council. And you put that in perspective. Well, this is what I put in perspective with your number one pick.
Yeah.
Her entire gameplay was to get rid of this guy named Russell Hantz. She couldn't do it. She didn't physically, she couldn't do nothing. Strategically, it never worked out for her. And socially, she was sassy Sandra, and she said it. So, when you put it all in perspective, for me, and maybe it's just because I am bitter. So, putting it together like that, it's just hard for me to be like, yeah, she had a great win.
I get it. I mean, as I said, I have her in the top, in the bottom 10.
But I also get that you said, 2-time winner. How, she won twice. How can you not say she was one of the greatest? She won twice. Regardless of what I say, I get both sides of the coin on that one.
Sure. Yeah. As I said, I see everyone's I think this has been pretty amazing in that for the first time ever, we've had, this is the most varied.
Oh, a lot of our lists are very similar. This is definitely varied. So that's
the most varied ever.
And it makes it boring if it's not. I mean, it's not like we're like pre-planning it. We think what we think. Yeah, however, people watching this is probably like, "Oh shit, that's out of left field."
Well, it's kind of cute when we sync up.
Yeah,
like, oh man.
Yeah, I know. It does have. We've played the game, so we have personal feelings embedded in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So that sways our vote as well. We might have liked, for instance, JT season. I like this season.
Mm-hmm.
So
I even like Bob Crowley's season. Mm-hmm. I didn't put him in the top 10.
I love Bob Crowley's season. I just don't love Bob, and I don't have a problem with Bob Crowley. I mean, I when it comes to nice guys, and even kind of he has a little bit of a dirty old man sense of humor. Which
I never seen that in Bob Crowley, but I started hearing a few things about the touchy-feely Bob Crowley. I never even heard that before.
Yeah, it's very likable.
Is that the reason they didn't call Bob? They couldn't have that.
No, I just think that there's a demo that they don't need that demo. They don't like CBS inherently already has the built-in old person viewing demo.
Right.
That's what CBS brings to the table. They watch the CBS News. They watch Andy Griffith at 5:00 on their local CBS affiliate, and then they watch it again at 5:30, and then they watch the CBS News at 6, and then they watch the local news, and they watch CBS News, then they watch Wheel of Fortune, they watch Jeopardy, they watch Survivor, and whatever that fucking TV's on, they get those Nielsen fucking box fucking views, and then they turn their fucking TV off. And the next day they wake up, they turn the TV to CBS. Mm-hmm. So that demo is covered already, just by the fact that you're a CBS viewer. Why are you wasting a spot on that old demographic? It's not necessary.
Yeah. Right.
So go after, cast the Indian girl, cast the black guy, cast the young, good looking, whatever, there's all these other demos that you can go after. That
they need to do Legends pretty fast, so we'll all be in that demographic.
Well, Russell, thank you once again for joining us. And
no problem.
I'm glad you were on time. I appreciate that.
I had to get. It's all about we having all this crazy happening right now, and I had to make the decision if I was going to let my son go to his mother's house when they have a child that they can't handle over there, going in and out the house. I'm like, I
don't like that.
For me.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm dealing with all that right now.
Oh yeah. So understood. So,
well, thank you guys, and appreciate the support, everyone, and we'll see you next time on Survivor NSFW. Cheers, everybody.
Later.